In Anoka County, Minnesota, there's an old mental asylum that borders the high school. I'm talking right next to it, sharing a fence and everything. My mom had said that when she was in school in the 1970s, she'd see patients walking around the grounds. Sometimes they come right to the fence edge and watch mom's tennis team practice. I guess there's an old graves in one of the county's corners too, which makes sense since it's a running hospital since 1898. It no longer serves as a mental hospital, but is now a recovering center for troubled teens and addicts. The underground tunnels are non-functioning and for all intents and purposes closed, but it is still patrolled. I can't imagine recovering from a substance abuse or being in a juvenile detention in a place with that history, but the kind of reputation obviously has been a victim to a number of stupid teens vandalizing, sneaking into the property to ghost hunt or whatever. Also, obviously, I've been one of them. In 2005, I was in a high school and dating a guy named Max, who volunteered as a fire department, because his father was the fire chief. All the minor volunteers were given a rotation of duties. Now, normally a minor volunteer would never be asked to patrol an asylum, but since Max's dad was the chief, and Max had been volunteering for 3 years now, and they were understaffed because of the massive storm, knocked down trees, flooded, and power outages, he had asked if Max would patrol the tunnels for the week to help out. This was our chance. I was in the middle of finals but was done with the school for the year that Thursday. I thought of a cool end of the school year exploration of the building would be an epic summer starter. He said he'd let me know after his first night what it was like and if I ever be able to sneak down there. On Tuesday morning, I heard from him before I went to class saying that the tunnels were cool and creepy. He said he patrolled alone, so I should be able to sneak down there with him for that bit, but might not be able to patrol with him for the actual grounds perimeter. Which was fine. All I really cared about was the tunnels. He also said to bring a flashlight, because there was a short period of time where he had to turn off the light before turning on another, and the wiring was all wonky. On Wednesday morning, he said there was a smell down there and I should bring water shoes. Some of the flooding had backed up into the tunnels, and the smell was likely a sewage break or drowned rats. The water wasn't very deep, but it was gross to him. On Thursday morning, he told me to meet him on the path behind the asylum at 10 p.m. It ran along the river. I was a little creeped out by the idea of walking alone the path at night, but decided it would be fine. I told my friend Anna where I'd be, and I texted her the code word every hour to let her know I was okay. The code was a line of a lyric of Tenacious D's song, one word each hour, sent in order. I may like creepy things, but I'm a huge pansy. I dressed in ghost hunter stuff, i.e. all black, with a hood and my rain boots. I held my key in my hands like a weapon. You know, the thing that you do in case someone attacks you and you think, I'll jab them with this key and they'll leave me alone. Knock on wood. Max was waiting there, and I was out there so I didn't have to wait alone, which was great. We started weaving our way through the property, all the while avoiding light posts. We got to the entrance. It was one of those concrete entryways, what immediately led to descending stairs. We headed in. The usual graffiti was presented. Iterations of fuck and penis sketches, and a bit of it was the word no repeating. I turned on my flashlight and headed downstairs. At the base of the stairs, it smelled like absolute shit. It was at least 10 degrees cooler. He clicked on the light switch on our end and we started off. There was nothing remarkable about the tunnel. It was just a bunch of empty, mostly doorless rooms, and an inch or so protruding smelling water. And a few pieces of destroyed furniture as well. I routinely looked through every room and he waited in the main tunnel. The rooms were 10-foot cubes, both inspected to find something horrible and also feared I find something ghastly. Most of the rooms were harmless, just kinda gross. Honestly, I was slightly disappointed. It hasn't been an adrenaline rush that I had hoped for. There was 4 rooms left on the other end that looked particularly beat up. He explained that there had been holding cells for patients that were having episodes and needed isolation. They were the only rooms with intact doors. I made him come in with me because I was paranoid that the door would suddenly slam shut and there was no way I was going to be haunted alone. I started inspecting. Nothing interesting in the first 2 rooms. In the third, I found some indents of the bottom corner and the back wall. After expecting for a bit, I realized that they were fingernail marks. The worst part about it was imagining the position someone would have to be to make them, crouching on the floor with their back to the door. I found a few more spots of claw marks, all bundled together, marks going all different directions. Most of them were clustered around the bottom of the room or corners. But there was one grouping of scratches, about 9 feet up on the wall. I guess maybe the person was standing on a bed and just going to town. But the unnatural height really bothered me. At this point, that was enough. I really didn't need a lot of creepy stuff to fill my quota, so I was ready to leave. Max understood, but also thought I could check out the last room since I had looked in on all the others. I wanted to leave, but my OCD and curiosity was like, you totally need to look at the last room. You have to complete the dungeon crawl. So I went in and made him stand right by me. We started going all over the walls, but found nothing. I kept going back to the back corners, since that's where I found the first marks on the other room. I bent down to look at what I thought was another mark on the wall, and noticed that there were marks on the floor. It was hard to see, since there was water all over, but by swishing my boots back and forth, I could make it out. The word no repeating. Now I was done. I stood up and turned to Max and then stopped. We had been so focused on looking at the floor with the flashlight, we didn't realize that the light of the tunnel had gone out. I fucking all out screamed. Max grabbed the light from my hand and charged towards the opening. I followed in a panic. He looked at one of the ways and the others with the light before dashing towards the stairwell to hit the corresponding light switch. I waited in the hallway, pressed against the wall, and eyes down. I didn't want to close them, even though I couldn't see anything anyway. But I didn't want to look around. I was afraid to see the shape in the claw-marked room across from me. Moments later, Max had a tunnel light on and was grabbing my arm. Thank God he's an emergency responder and could act on instinct. I was useless. We ran up the stairs and out the other side. I had another brief moment of panic when he took the flashlight and went back down to turn the lights back off, to complete his patrol. I thought for sure he would be pulled out of the view by an invisible force or that some terrible creature would come crawling up the stairs after me. But it was nothing like that. Thing is, I'd never go back. But Max had one more night on patrol.